One of the most surprising and intriguing announcements from the Switch 2 Direct was the Duskbloods, the new FromSoft title which will launch as a console exclusive. Even more intriguing was the fact that this is not a typical single-player focused FromSoft title, but rather an online PvPvE multiplayer game. Now, normally when a new online game comes out, I couldn't care less because they're not fun, and you basically have to treat them like a part-time job in order to be even somewhat remotely good at them. But something the director of the game, Hidetaka Miyazaki, said actually made me reconsider that first impression and rethink what this game could mean within the landscape of online gaming. In an interview with IGN, Miyazaki himself said that he wanted to design a PvP game for people who don't like PvP games. I, Miyazaki, personally am not much of a PvP person, and I wanted to make something that's satisfying even for players like me. While the goal of a match is to obtain a resource in the game called First Blood, there are personal objectives that provide separate rewards to the player as well, so I hope these add to the fun of each engagement. I have a hunch that this game might attract a huge new audience of players that, like me and Miyazaki, might never otherwise touch this genre. And that's the most interesting thing about the Duskbloods. It has a unique position to bring together two different player types who might never normally meet. First, your casual to hardcore FromSoft fans, and second, your more dedicated fans of online battle royales like Apex or Marvel Rivals. I can't say for sure, but based on my tastes, I think it's a safe generalization to make that people who like the more grueling single-player focused experiences of a FromSoft title don't particularly seek out or enjoy online battle royales as much. Now, maybe you do, and that's great. I know I don't. But if this game can bring together and satisfy those two player types, I think the effect on current battle royales and online gaming would be extremely beneficial. I mean, man, you look at all these game studios trying to jump on this trend of online battle royales, and it's just like, okay, Rocksteady, we get it. Your dad doesn't love you. But this one feels different because we know that FromSoft makes excellent quality games. And whenever a FromSoft game makes a splash, you have all these other developers follow in their footsteps. Take Bloodborne as an example. It came out in 2015, and because of that game's success, we now have Lies of P, Salt and Sanctuary, Eldest Souls, Jedi Fallen Order, and Jedi Survivor, Thymesia, Steel Rising, Neo 1, Neo 2, Hollow Knight, and I could go on. If FromSoft can pull off the blending of a Souls-like game with online battles, I think a lot of other developers would take note and try to deliver similar experiences, just like in the case of Bloodborne and the games that followed. If this new FromSoft title, which just happens to be a really well-made online PvP game, sells millions of units, it would certainly make sense if other developers perked up and tried to deliver more immersive, more complex, and more rich online multiplayer experiences. Hopefully they would include a mix of PvE elements like Miyazaki is proposing. It might not be Respawn or Activision, but there are still plenty of smaller to mid-sized companies who have made wildly popular stuff, like Mediatonic, the company who made Fall Guys. I think it would be studios of that scale, not Mediatonic specifically, who could take inspiration and create really excellent online multiplayer experiences for people who would never normally play them. Round 8 Studios, one of the guys who developed Lies of P, started by making an MMORPG. Imagine a Lies of P PvP. Sounds pretty awesome. Of course, it all depends on how the Duskbloods performs. I think it'll sell really well just based off the name recognition of FromSoft alone, but the public reception is the other determining factor. Maybe it'll come out and be just another online PvP game and no one will bat an eye. But I just can't help think that there's something else there. It seems like FromSoft actually wants to make a top-tier title that happens to be exploring new play elements through online usage. And maybe it'll be the first domino in a new chain of inspiring, fresh, exciting multiplayer games that could breathe fresh life into online gaming. Nintendo also announced their pricing model for the Switch 2 generation, so you can click here to check that out.